Hi everyone, this is the second video on the if, COUNTIF and SUMIF function. So there are a series of what if questions I can ask to make the spreadsheet quite interesting and flexible. For instance, right now the pass mark is 50. As we can see here in this first function, if C4 is greater than or equal to 50. What if I wanted to change the pass mark to, let's say, 45? I can actually edit this function and then copy the formulas down again. But as we know, that is not a good practice when dealing with spreadsheets. So what I can do is actually pull out a value here for the pass mark. Right now it's 50, and in this function, the if function, instead of comparing the value in C4 to the actual value 50, I'm going to compare the value in C4 to this value in B19. So let's see how that is going to work. I'm just going to remove the 50 and I'm going to put in B19. So if C4 is greater than or equal to B19, I'm going to display pass. Otherwise, I'm going to display fail. So when I hit enter, I see that this student has still passed. I'm going to copy this down, but I have a problem. It says all the students have passed. That's not quite right. So if we look in here at the function, we see that the B19 has changed to B20. We know how to fix this. All we have to do is use absolute referencing. I don't want the B19 reference to change, so I'm going to use the dollar signs, $B, $19. I do want the C4 reference to change to C5, C6, C7, C8, etc. So I'm going to hit enter and copy back this new function and it's back to normal. So let's see what happens if I want to now change the pass mark from 50 to 45. Here now, the student who had gotten 45 has now passed the exam. And instead of 4 students passing, I have 5 passing and 1 failing. So this can actually make my spreadsheet very flexible. I can change the pass mark to anything that I want, and the entire spreadsheet is going to be updated accordingly. So let's change this pass mark back to 50. Another thing I can change is the value that I display here, pass or fail. Instead of using this literal value pass and literal value fail here, I can again use a cell reference. So I'm going to remove pass, and instead the value, if my condition is true, is going to take this cell reference here, B13, where I actually have the word pass written out. And instead of putting in the word fail in inverted commas, I'm going to use a cell reference B14 as the value if the condition is not true. So when I hit enter, I again see that this student has passed, even though I no longer have the word pass in my actual function. Now, I know I'm going to have to make a little change here to this function, because when I copy it down, I'm going to run into some problems. As you can see, we will need to fix this by using absolute referencing. So I do not want the B13 reference to change because that contains the value pass, and I do not want the B14 reference to change because that contains the word fail. So when I use my absolute references now and I copy my function down, we're back to normal. So suppose instead of pass and fail, I want to use something else. Let's say I just want the letter P and the letter F. I can use these labels here. I can change this pass to the letter P, and notice the spreadsheet has updated. And again here, fail, I can change it to letter F. Now I have some problems in this area because these functions had actually used the words pass and fail in them. So I can simply update them to refer to the cells B13 and B14 accordingly. So let's do that now. And I think our spreadsheet works out just fine. So again, I can change my pass mark and the values will change accordingly, the P's and the F. I can change the display that I want to indicate pass or fail. For instance, I can do that. And notice that these functions here were not affected because they reference the cells B13 and B14 and use whatever values would be in these two cells instead of hard coding in a particular value. So this makes my spreadsheet incredibly flexible and very, very useful.